Welcome to Smack This, the unofficial GodSmack podcast. I'm your host, Kevin Humphrey, and this is episode 4, where I talk all things Godsmack. Now, this week in Godsmack news, there wasn't any news this week. The band's been kind of quiet, which I kind of thought so, enjoying the summer 4th of July stuff. So, I, I, I enjoyed my 4th of July. I hope you did. Um, so, let's talk about what we're here to talk about, and that's episode 4. And this time, I'm going to talk about the second album. I'm talking about Godsmack, Awake. There you go. And we're going to go track by track, give my opinion on what my opinions are on these songs on this album. And so let's kind of keep it going. I like to talk about timelines. Every band has a timeline, and Godsmack's no different. So we're going to pick up where we left off in the last week's episode 3, which I talked about the debut album. So after the debut album came out, of course they went on tour. They were basically an opening act for quite a while. They opened up for bands like Seven Dust and Black Sabbath, among others. And then they also got invited to do Ozfest 99. They were kind of early into the show, so they were kind of lower down on the bill. Now, what's really interesting was while they were also on tour, they got invited to do Woodstock 99. Now, if you've never seen Woodstock 99 Godsmack show, it's worth a watch. It is absolutely fantastic. It's almost an hour. You can tell the fame of Whatever was at the height where it was. They hadn't released Voodoo yet, or even Keep Away, which was the second single. In fact, Sully says this is our brand new single that's fixing to come out, and they play Keep Away. So what's really interesting about this show is when they come out, some people realize who they are, but by the time they leave the stage, Sully has the entire, I don't know how many hundreds of thousands of people were out there, but he's pretty much got them wrapped around his pinky. I mean, he could tell them to rush the stage, they would have. It's really cool to watch, and so Google it, search it, Godsmack Woodstock 99. It's worth the watch, I'm telling you. So, and also, while they were on what they called the Voodoo Tour, which was the first album, like I said, they were opening act. Uh, by the time they got done with Ozfest and Woodstock, they actually became a headlining act in clubs. They had Ravel and Jim Rose Circus as the opening act. Pretty soon they were actually headlining 1,000 seat theaters. And then they got invited again to do Ozfest 2000. And by that time, Voodoo was, like I said in the last episode, was a smash hit. They actually moved up in the order. They were actually close to the co-headliners, which were Pantera, and who knew that was be the end of Pantera? I mean, that was their end of the original guys. And then Ozzy was the headliner. So, I mean, that was just a big explosion. I don't think they were expected to do that in one album. I mean, that was just incredible. So, after they finished the Voodoo Tour, they basically went right into the studio. Well, let me scratch that. They went into a warehouse and recorded the second album. Sully didn't want them to be in a fancy studio. He wanted them to be in a warehouse where it was dirty and grungy, and he wanted the sound to be tougher and have more grit and teeth into it. And it does. I tell you that. It is a big stepping stone from the first album to Awake. Awake is a little harder edge. It's almost got. I said it on last week's episode about a song where it has a roller coaster. This whole album is pretty much a roller coaster. In fact, there's a song that has a roller coaster in it. So we'll get to that here in a minute. So this is also the first album that has Tommy Stewart, he is right there, on drums. Like I said in the last week's episode, Sully did all the drums on the first album. So Tommy didn't play a note. So this was the first album that Tommy actually plays drums on. Now, I will say this. During the COVID thing, Sully came out with his own little podcast show called Hometown Sessions, and he had mentioned that he played the drum part of the intro of Awake, that dum 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 sound. Now, so that kind of got me wondering, how much does Tommy even play on this album? Is it Sully? I know he plays the bongos on the song, so it kind of makes you think, or at least for me as a big huge fan, it kind of makes me go, I wonder what Tommy plays on and what does Sully help play. I don't know. Only the guys in the band, Tommy, the producer, co-producer, Murder Rock, would know. I'd love to find out from them, what did Tommy play all the drums on it, except for that part? Why couldn't he play that part? I don't know. Anyway, that's the geek in me. And like I said, it was produced by Sully and Murder Rock again, like the first album. So they didn't really change producers, but overall, it got a great success after the first album. It's not broke, why fix it? Now, this album was released on Halloween, October the 31st, 2000. I actually remember going after work and getting this album and then heading home, listening to it in the car. It was in my car for quite a few weeks. This album is really good. So it peaked at number 5 in the Billboard. So that's awesome. Number 5. It has sold 2 million copies in the United States. It released 3 singles off this album: Awake, Greed, and Bad Magic. Now, Bad Magic didn't get played on radio in my hometown. In fact, Awake and Greed got videos. Bad Magic didn't get a video. Bad Magic was scheduled to have a video and a proper single release, I guess, and 9/11 happened, so that kind of scratched that, and by the time, I guess, when everything kind of became back to normal, if you remember 9/11, I sure do, I guess they thought, well, we're already kind of moved on. So it didn't get a video. Now, what's really interesting about this album, about this period, is that Awake and Sick of Life actually became part of commercials for the United States Navy commercials. I remember watching TV, just kind of flipping through the channels, and the commercial of this Navy commercial comes on, and it's Awake. And I was like, whoa, what the? GodSmack's part of this commercial? That's kind of cool. So that's very interesting. And they gave the rights to them to use it for the commercials. I think that's fantastic. So, with that being said, there's the little timeline, like I said. And so now, let's get to the fun stuff. Let's talk about the track by track for Awake. And this is a great album. I really like this album. I remember loving it when I first heard it. Of course, when I bought it, the only song I knew was Awake. And so by the time I actually got it out of the car, I knew pretty much every song on it. So, kind of like the first album, I really don't go back to this one a lot. It seems like when they put out newer stuff, like When Legends Rise or Horsepower, I kind of cling to those two albums until the next album. And then what I like to do is start from the beginning, which is the first album, and go all the way through. It takes me a few weeks to do it, but it's fun. It's kind of, you can kind of hear the progression of the band as they grow into what they are now. So let's do this. Let's go track by track. So the first song, I might have to move my notes a little bit. Okay, so the first song is Sick of Life. Sick of Life is an interesting kind of song to start the album with. It's a harder, it's a little more raw. It's not that I don't like the song. I think it's probably in the bad spot. Maybe Awake should have opened up the album, not this one. It's kind of a downer song if you really listen to the words. Because it says sick of life, tired of everything in my life. So it's kind of like a downer song to me. Not that I don't like it. I think it's a good song. Is it my favorite off this album? No. But it's a good song. It's got a good intro. It's got like fading, and at the very beginning, it kind of fades in. You can kind of hear the band kind of starting to warm up, and then it builds up, and then boom. I really like Tony's guitar solo in this song. It's really good, but it's short and sweet. It's Tony plays some great guitar solos. He knows when to play and when not to overplay. And in this song, it's one of those examples. It catches your ear, but then it kind of goes away. It kind of blends into the song. So that's really good. Okay, track 2 is Awake, the title track. I love this song. That drum intro, like I said, that doom, 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 gets your attention every time. At least mine. As soon as I hear that, I crank it up. It is such a good song. Then it goes Sully's Euro stuff. At the very beginning, it's almost kind of where his, I don't know what to word it as, a catchphrase maybe? Signature, there you go. Part of a song. If you listen to a lot of their albums like I do, you kind of catch it and you go, oh, there it is. Okay, so, but anyway, and then it just it's like blast off. It's got a great groove. The breakdown's really good. This song is just amazing. I still like either the studio or the live version. It doesn't matter. It just sounds really good. All right, track 3 is Greed. Now it starts off with the guitar, and then the vocals are a little bit different. Not different as in bad, different as in good. Usually his songs, he starts off with a singing voice, and then he kind of does that raspy kind of voice during the chorus. Now this time around he switches it, and then he does the raspy kind of sound, growl. I don't know how you would describe it. I love it, but whatever it's called. And then he does the actual singing in the chorus, and you can hear Tony actually singing along in the background for background vocals, and it just works. It's just really good. I really like this song. I kind of wish they'd bring this into the set list again, just to kind of dust it off. It's just really good. I like this song. And like catchy chorus. The chorus is very catchy. Probably one of my favorite songs on the album. I don't know. You might have to you'd stay tuned and find out. Alright, so Bad Magic is track number 4. Now, Bad Magic was written around the time the band got signed. They originally were going to put it on the debut album, but I think they thought, well, maybe we'll hold off on it because you already got Bad Religion, too many bads. I kind of see that. But Bad Magic, the track, is really good. It's got another good drum intro into it. It has a breakdown, and then it builds back up. It's got this kind of repeating chant, sorta, kinda, almost. He goes, Sully says, "Get back on track, get off of my back," and it just keeps saying it over and over. And as he's saying it over and over, the band builds back up. And just when you think that's how it's going to end, I mean, it's just really rocking by this point, then it drops right back down. So again, there's that little roller coaster, and it's really good. I do love this song a lot. It's really good. Then it goes back down, that chanting again, or that repeat of words, and then all of a sudden it just stops. Next song. Alright, track number 5, that is Going Down. Now, Going Down is interesting because it was supposed to be on the first album. They took it off, put whatever on. Now, Going Down has a good bass intro by Robbie. Kind of showcases in this one. Then there's a different kind of Sully singing in it again. This time it's a little talking, singing, kind of like that. Actually, kind of talking and singing kind of thing. It's really good. I really like it. The guitar work on it is just fantastic. I'm glad they put this on this album. I think it would have probably gotten overshadowed on the songs on the first one. So this one kind of makes it stand out on this album. Now, track number 6 is the longest song on the album, and that is Mistakes. Now, Mistakes is great. Absolutely fantastic. It's got a great guitar intro that Sully plays. It almost kind of sounds like he's playing scales. All you guitar players tell me if I'm wrong or right. But that's what it kind of sounds like. And it's really catchy. It kind of gets you listening. You get your ear. You're like, okay, what is this? What am I about to hear? And then it's got a great groove on it. Dun, 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 dun. It's really good. And then it's also kind of a darker one. The darker songs, kind of like Sick of Life, but I kind of put it on the I'm putting it on the lighter side of Sick of Life. I really like this song a lot. What's also really interesting is there's a little break part in it, and then towards the end of the song, there's like news caption audio thing going on. It's really good. It just fits the song perfect, I think. Alright, track number 7 is Tripping. Now, like I said at the beginning, this album has a roller coaster. So, the first 6 songs are pretty much straight ahead, hard rock. So, you're kind of going up a hill, almost like a workout. And then by the time you get to Tripping, which is song number 7, that's kind of when it starts to go down. Kind of like the cooling off part or the stretching part, or I don't know. But it's the part that goes down the hill. Tripping is such a good song. It's so different than the other songs because it goes really slow. It's got a great bass intro again from Robbie. Some real guitar sounds from Tony come out. Um, then there's almost kind of a vocal echo in it. The words are really good. Tripping into a world, and it's so good. It's again one of those songs, kind of like Voodoo. It kind of invites you in, and you explored what you think you're hearing. I think it's great. I absolutely think it's a great song. Um, then it rocks. So again, it's another one of those roller coaster songs. So it kind of goes down and then comes up and then comes down, then goes back up, and then it just kind of stops. Forgive Me. Forgive Me is an interesting song. Sorry, something's wrong with my camera. Forgive Me is an interesting song. It just starts out rocking. There's no intro. It just kind of goes. There's a lot of fading in it, vocal wise. Is great. It's not really my favorite song on the album, so there's my worst song on the album. I didn't do a whole lot of notes on it. I don't know. I didn't think it's that good of a song. I don't know. Maybe if I listen to it again in a few days, maybe I'd like it. I don't know. As of now, it's not my favorite song. So that leads us to track number 9. Now, last week I talked about my favorite instrumental. This is it, number 9. Number 9 is called Vampires. This song is so good. And you'll hear me say that a lot, I know. So good. So, what makes this track interesting is it's not just your typical instrumental. Sure, the band's playing and it sounds fantastic, but what's really interesting is the words that are being spoken. Now, I did some research on it. It's actually from a TV show called Mysterious Forces Beyond. And the episode, oddly enough, is called Vampires. You hear them talking about vampires. Why are we attracted to the Night of the Living? And kind of stuff like that. And it just fits this song perfect. I'm not sure who thought of that idea. Maybe it was Tony, maybe it was Sully, maybe it was Murdoch, I don't know. It just fits this song great. Especially when they used to play it live, they would have the pyro going, basically the fire. And then the big screen showing Dracula and all them. It just fits this really good. I love this song. It's so good. There you go again. So good. Track 10 is The Journey. Now this one's a little different instrumental. So now you got 2 instrumentals on an album. However, this instrumental is 49 seconds, so it's pretty much quick. There's a part in it sounds like a music box. I'm pretty sure it's a guitar that Tony's playing, or maybe even Sully playing. I'm not sure. I really don't know who's playing the guitar on it. But there's it sounds like a music box with the ballerina circling. And then there's this singing kind of chanting part, and it's actually the chorus to the next song. So it's, like I said, it's short and sweet, 49 seconds. And then we get to track number 11. That's the last track on the album, and that is Sparrow. Sparrow kicks in right as soon as The Journey cuts off, which doesn't really cut off, it just kind of blends into one. Kind of like I said on the first album, they split Someone in London and Get Up, Get Out. They did it again, but they did it a little bit better. They kind of kept it intact, so it just kind of runs into the other. And it doesn't sound like it's something totally different or anything like that. Sparrow's great. It just kicks in. Like I said, the bongos, you can hear that was Sully playing those. His vocals are so good in this song. Then there's more chanting. There's drifting music. It's kind of like I said, voodoo-ish, kind of like in tripping, where you want to explore it. You could probably listen to it with your eyes closed and imagine Mary takes off. Then it ends with the music box, and that's pretty much how the album ends. So that's it, track by track, 11 tracks. Now, we're going to talk about I'm going to go backwards, actually. I'm going to go with the worst song. For me, it's Forgive Me. I don't know about that song. It just doesn't get me like the other songs do. My favorite songs on this album are Bad Magic, Mistakes, Trippin', Vampires, and Spiral. In fact, I would agree to it as well, even though it was a single and it did get played a lot, or at least down here it did. So I will pick a single on this episode. I stayed away with that on the last episode, and I'm going to try and stay away from that on the next episodes as we go on album by album. I'll pick the unreleased singles, not the big hit songs. Although with some of them that might be hard. I'm going to rate it 1 out of 10. I'm going to rate it a 10 out of 10. I think this album's still really good from beginning to end. Even though I don't like Forgive Me, I wouldn't skip it. I would listen to it and hope that I would like it. But after all these years later, yeah, it's still not my favorite on this album. But you tell me what you think. I want to hear from you guys. You tell me. Alright, so speaking of homework, you rate it. 1 out of 10, 1 being the worst, 10 being the best. Does the album still hold up? I mean, this album's 22 years old. Yeah, that's crazy. Think about it now. So what's your favorite song? What's your least favorite song or songs on the album? Again, don't forget to like and subscribe. Next week's episode, I'm going to go ahead and tell you it's going to be about 2 DVDs that came out, and that's kind of going to be hard to talk about DVDs because I can't post anything on here. But I'm going to talk about Smack This, the DVD, and GodSmack Live. 2 DVDs that I wore it out, basically. So anyway, so there's your homework. Rate the album, favorite song, least favorite song. Don't forget to like, subscribe. Thank you for all the views, all the subscribers. I really want to appreciate that. And I am wearing a GodSmack shirt, as always. So there's the shout out to that. And you just got smacked.